Hey guys, Enchanting Gaming here, and right away I want to give a shout out to another channel, Joey McScrooge. He was showing a video in which PokeRev and Cool Trainer Ryan were opening up Lorcana packs, and I think it's been like 2 years since PokeRev had opened Lorcana. But the point being, there's a lot of whales that are coming into Lorcana, and many, many more that still need to find out and come over. Not to mention, you guys don't know how many of them already here on the down low. Like I've been saying, I think Jake Paul is one of them who's been collecting on the down low. Go watch one of my older videos from early March on that one. He's he even made the point in it. He doesn't like to announce anymore that he's in stuff because things will go up multiple X's just on what he's saying. And that's the thing that scares me. You got guys like Rudy too warming up to Lorcana, to his base. I think more so he doesn't get a bunch of backlash once he starts selling it. But, you got all these people from like Pokemon Land and other TCGs that most definitely are going to become pouring over. We've been on this hype train with Lorcana since March, especially with these prices just shooting up since then. And this is all thanks to Fabled, the set everyone was hating on for the most part. And it's crazy to think that set out of everyone in Lorcana is the one everyone wants now. The big reprint set, not a whole lot of new stuff to it. And no, that's really what, in terms of investing, you're looking for. That item, that company, or whatever it is that people hate on. Because eventually, it's been just time and time again in history, that most hated on thing becomes just this diamond in the rough. And that's Fabled for Lorcana. And you can look at other things in history too, like crypto is a good one. 2017 era, people were just like, is this actually for real? And they were hating on it. They were, putting a bunch of false information and a bunch of doubt in people's mind on it. And now fast forward to today, and most people understand that crypto is the future of finance. You have all these bills in government coming through, and it's just, at this point, if you don't think crypto is the future of finance, I don't know what rock you've been living under. And then you've had other things too, like stocks, certain companies people were not the most biggest fans of end up being huge. Even precious metals, a bunch of people used to say, oh, those will never become the prices that they are today. And look at those prices. Everything just comes around at some point. Not saying that everything people hate on becomes big, but there's been so many instances throughout history where it has. And you just gotta take a close look and use logic. In terms of Lorcana, you have Disney, one of the biggest companies in the world, holder of so many IPs that are extremely popular. What makes you think they're not going to do good? They have a lot of the brightest minds in the industry. They have these supply lines. They have some of the best artists in the world. What exactly is making you think that Lorcana is not going to become popular? They have all these other ways to introduce Lorcana that other TCGs do not have. What other TCGs have theme parks, cruise ships? Some of them do have the ability to go to movie theaters, but Disney has so much more. They have toy lines they could throw cards in, board games, puzzles. They've been putting them in. They have just tons of assets at their disposal. They have the cash. They've seen what's happened with Pokemon in terms of its popularity and what that can bring. Why would they not want Lorcana to succeed? It doesn't make any sense. Like all the people that were saying back, not even too long ago, Lorcana's dead. It'll never make it. Why would Disney not want it to succeed? Like it makes all the sense in the world for them to push Lorcana. And granted, they do need to do more pushing than they have been, getting stuff ready. They need to figure out print facilities is a huge thing. Print facilities, print quality control definitely needs to be up. I get so many cards that are not centered, that come with a lot of whitening on them. It's kind of ridiculous, but and then the pack opening experience, like people say, definitely need to up that. People coming over from Pokemon are going to expect better than what Lorcana offers because, I've opened up a case of Winter Spell and never gotten enchanted in it. And supposedly you're supposed to get one in every case, which I know isn't the case because a lot of people have not. But that probably should be something they, do and make sure of. And probably come out with another rarity for sure. Just make it so you can hit more of those like epics and maybe even up the enchanted rate a little bit because these people coming over are going to expect better and you want them to stick around and enjoy the opening experience. And hopefully too we get a lot more players. That's really what a TCG needs most is the player base, a good strong player base with people that care, which Disney, there's so many unique IPs to it. There's something for everyone. That's why there's just no reason to think it can't succeed. And I think we are to this point now where we can pretty much be done talking about the Lorcana's dead, and all that nonsense. It's, great to finally get to that point. We got such huge sets coming up in the Toy Story, Incredibles, Brave, and then after that, your Monsters Inc., along with, I believe, Up is in that one, and Turning Red, I think, might be in some others. Coco onwards, there's so many IPs that can be introduced. Like Nightmare Before Christmas will be a huge one. Cars could be another huge one. Finding Nemo. There's so much to look forward to. And it actually surprises me somewhat that they've been throwing so many new IPs in a single set. Did they really need to throw Brave and Incredibles in this Toy Story set? Not necessarily, in my opinion. They could probably save those for a future set. Literally, I think the Wilds Unknown one could have been Toy Story only and did, absolutely fantastic. Like, I literally would have been happy with all Toy Story Enchanteds and Iconics. But yeah, it's just, looking at a lot of this stuff, guys, there's just going back to, the popularity that's going to be coming. So many people are not in Lorcana yet. Like, you gotta realize this. A lot of the buying up that's been occurring in Lorcana has been from actual fans and, a few people from Pokemon coming over and a few on the down low you don't know about, picking up everything. There's definitely some whales over here. But the thing is, there's not enough Lorcana cards to go around. There's not enough Lorcana boxes from these old sets to go around. Like, take a look at, the stuff over with Pokemon in terms of pop numbers and prices. Like Bubble Mew going for, essentially 2,700, 2,600. But the pop, 45,000 total, 15,815 in a PSA 10. what cards in Lorcana come to these kind of numbers even? Like, if all these people from Pokemon start piling in because of Pokerev, Rudy, Cool Trainer Ryan, whoever else, there's not enough cards for everyone. And that's why I'm saying Ravensburger is going to have to figure out something with their printing. And here we have Charizard 151, essentially $1,800. But the pop's even higher on that one. 95,000 total, 27,000 PSA 10s. Nothing in Lorcana currently touches this. A lot of it's like basically sub 2,000, at least that we know of for now. Of course, there's a lot more at grading or going to be going to grading, but you're looking at maybe a few thousand. So it's just kind of nuts to think how kind of early this still is, even though we had the nice run up in prices. And that's literally essentially a drop in the bucket to what we could see coming, with a bunch of people from the other TCGs needing to come piling in still. There's so many over there compared to Lorcana. It's just kind of insane to think a lot of these prices we currently have are essentially nothing. I mean, box prices, we're going to get to MSRP sooner rather than later. And unfortunately for that, we're going to likely one day be like Pokemon and have where finding stuff at MSRP is becoming a chore. So it's my opinion, Lorcana is going to become, next to Pokemon in popularity for TCGs. And I mean, I've thought that for a while here. Definitely don't know why it could not occur. There's too much upside to everything still that, I mean, we're going to see ridiculous things going on price-wise, trying to find product. That's kind of sad that we're going to end up seeing that in a way, because I like, collecting and filling my binders with enchanteds and stuff, and it's just become so much harder to do so. But at the same time, it's great to see more people coming in and helping the game out. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do you believe a lot of these Pokemon influencers are going to be coming to Lorcana soon, opening product, talking positive about it? It's kind of nuts to finally see some of this occurring. Do you think it's going to be occurring soon? About what set time frame do you think? Yeah, it's crazy. But I'll catch you guys in the next one.